Coming up today on Public Eye News, President Trump's immigration ban has many people protesting at airports across the nation as tragedy strikes at a Canadian mosque.
Weatherman Charles Owsley has a snowy forecast for us, and sports anchor Julie Goldberg has information about tonight's NMU basketball games against Michigan Tech. Hi, I'm Todd Rose.
And I'm Charles Owsley. Welcome to Public Eye News. A Wisconsin man was injured on Friday after his snowmobile crashed into a motor vehicle in Ontonagon County. Gene Zedler of New Richmond, Wisconsin, failed to stop at a stop sign at the intersection of Gem Hill Road and Trail Number 8. Zedler hit an oncoming car, which then spun 180 degrees and crashed into the back of Zedler's snowmobile. He was taken to Aspirus Grandview Hospital in Ironwood and then airlifted to Aspirus Wausau Hospital to treat his broken femur. Zedler has been given a hazard action fail to stop citation, and his current condition is unknown. An exhibit at the William Boniface Fine Art Center in Escanaba is currently showcasing artwork from over 50 upper-level NMU art students. The exhibit, titled No BS or BFA Yet, is held every other year, but for the first time this year is handing out awards. There were 5 honorable mentions given out in addition to first, second, and third places. Pieces range from pottery, photography, and even video submissions. The exhibition will be shown until February 23rd.
Last Thursday was standing room only at a joint work session that was hosted by the Marquette City Commission and Planning Commission. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss rental regulation proposals that were approved by the Planning Commission in November of last year. And now Marquette City Manager Mike Angeli says that city staff are working on compiling all input from last week's meeting in an effort to come up with a recommendation for the regulations. For almost 2 years now, city officials have debated regulation policies for properties listed on sites such as Airbnb and vacation rental by owner. And Wright Street was closed for roughly a half hour yesterday after a single vehicle accident. The accident happened shortly before 1 p.m. yesterday afternoon west of the Marquette Board of Light and Power. The Marquette Police Department say that the vehicle, a Jeep, rolled at least one time before landing upright on its wheels. No other vehicles were involved in the incident. The occupants of the Jeep received minor injuries and sought their own treatment. They were all wearing their seatbelts. Michigan State Police, the Marquette Fire Department, and UP Health System Marquette assisted Marquette Police at the accident scene.
Thousands of protesters gathered in the Detroit Metropolitan Airport on Sunday to protest President Trump's executive order banning entry into the U.S. from 7 Muslim-majority countries. Traffic on Interstate 94 came to a standstill as protesters waved signs of support for immigrants and denouncing President Trump's actions. The protest was just one of 4 in Michigan, in addition to several others across the United States. The executive order temporarily blocks travel to the U.S. from Iraq, Syria, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. A deal made on Craigslist to sell marijuana led to the deaths of 2 men in a car outside a Walmart in the Lower Peninsula. 31-year-old Joseph Carson and 39-year-old Anthony Hammond of Flint were found dead in a vehicle in Caledonia Township near Owasso. 2 suspects identified as a 23-year-old man and a 31-year-old man are currently being held in Shiawassee County Jail. And after a brief break, we'll be back with your national and international news.
Next time on Finding Your Roots, 3 very different TV personalities find common ground. Bill O'Reilly.
It really is an amazing piece of detective work.
Soledad O'Brien.
I just didn't realize that it dated back so far.
And Bill Maher.
There we go. County Kerry. That's where I come from.
Ireland reveals her secrets and shocks her descendants.
And why didn't my father ever tell me this?
On the next Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 after PBS NewsHour on Public TV 13.
And welcome back to Public Eye News. The Tennessee Valley Authority are being taken to court by environmental groups over waste ash from an aging coal plant located northeast of Nashville. The environmental groups are claiming that the waste ash from the plant polluted the Cumberland River and is in violation of the Clean Water Act. In a bench trial which began earlier today in federal court in Nashville, the Tennessee Clean Water Network and Tennessee Scenic Rivers Association said that faulty TVA storage of the ash is responsible for the pollution. And President Donald Trump is defending his travel and immigration crackdown on people from 7 Muslim-majority countries entering the United States. Mr. Trump says the directive is not about religion, but keeping the country safe. Hannah Daniels has more.
More protests are planned this morning after tens of thousands took to airports and the streets nationwide over the weekend. In Dallas, Mariam Yassin held back tears after her mother, a green card holder from Syria, was finally released after being detained for hours.
It's sad. I don't know.
Mustafa Abu Zaid, a green card holder from Yemen, was reunited with his uncle in San Francisco.
We come to the United States, it's a democratic country, and there is a process for overall. And now it's kind of chaos.
On Sunday, the White House defended the travel ban that denies entry to the U.S. for visa holders from 7 countries with ties to terrorism. In a statement, President Trump said the 7 countries named in the executive order are the same countries previously identified by the Obama administration as a source of terror. To be clear, this is not a Muslim ban. And from the Oval Office on Saturday, the president didn't back down.
We're going to have a very, very strict ban, and we're going to have extreme vetting, which we should have had in this country for many years.
Late Sunday, the Department of Homeland Security clarified that U.S. residents with green cards will be allowed in after a case-by-case review.
California's legal marijuana industry is starting to take form outside Sacramento as government workers begin drawing regulations for next year. The new industry is reportedly worth $7 billion and could potentially collect over $1 billion a year in taxes. Some of the issues currently being worked out include water quality safety, tax collection, and how and where the plants can be grown. Legislators will be meeting today to discuss whether they can meet their deadline to implement the legal sale of marijuana. And authorities in Canada are trying to figure out what led to a deadly shooting at a mosque in Quebec City on Sunday. At least 6 people were killed in the attack, 8 others were injured. The nation's prime minister is calling the incident a terror attack. Hannah Daniels has the latest from New York.
Authorities in Quebec City blocked off the area around the city's Islamic Cultural Center Sunday night as emergency crews carried away victims on stretchers. The president of the mosque, who was not inside at the time, says several people were killed when multiple gunmen opened fire on worshippers during evening prayers. He said an estimated 60 to 100 people may have been there at the time. At least 2 suspects have been arrested.
Quebec City today has been hit by terrorism. Hard to believe in such a peaceful, beautiful city that such a thing could happen, but it has happened, obviously.
Back in the U.S., authorities are taking action. The NYPD has now added extra officers to patrol mosques citywide. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio is also urging all New Yorkers to remain vigilant. He tweeted his condolences to the people of Canada, writing, "Our prayers tonight are with the people of Quebec City as they deal with a terrible attack on a mosque. We must stand together."
For decades, people have dreamed of the possibilities of driving their very own flying car and avoiding traffic jams. As of very recently, nearly a dozen companies around the world are competing with each other to be the first to develop a successful new kind of aircraft that will appeal to the public. Companies like Uber and Airbus are trying to create a new type of air taxi that will transport people to their desired locations faster. The FAA said in a statement that they are currently in a flexible and open-minded approach to these flying cars. It's unclear whether or not these automobiles will be successful or how much they will cost, but the efforts of developers are unshaken. And stay tuned, because after this break, we'll be back with your weather and sports.
On American Experience.
The idea of a subway in Boston was an enormous risk.
It was one of the most important engineering achievements of our time.
The conditions are much more challenging than imagined.
And there is tremendous chaos.
People were horrified. There was a lot of opposition to it.
The Race Underground on American Experience.
Join us Tuesday evening at 9.
And welcome back. Looking across campus is another gloomy and beautiful day in Marquette, Michigan. Let's take a look at the current conditions outside. Right now it's partly cloudy, 23 degrees with winds coming out of the south at 13 miles an hour. Barometric pressure is 29.79 and falling. Looking into tonight, it will be cloudy with a low of 17, winds coming out of the southeast at 10 miles an hour. And tomorrow we'll have snow with a high of 31, winds coming out of the west-northwest at 4 miles an hour. Taking a look across the UP, over in Sault Ste. Marie, it's 15 degrees and cloudy. In Manistee, 20. In Escanaba, 22. Down in Menominee, 20 degrees. Moving over to the western side, in Iron Mountain, it's 20 degrees. In Ironwood, 18 and snowy. Up there in Houghton, 21. And back here in Marquette, 23 degrees and partly cloudy. Let's take a look at the weather for the rest of the week. On Wednesday, we will have a high of 22 with a low of 9 degrees and snow showers. On Thursday, a high of 15 and a low of 7 with cloudy weather. And on Friday, a high of 20, low of 12 and partly cloudy. And Julie, I hear you have a pretty fiery game in the basketball world coming up.
Yeah, let me tell you all about it. The Northern Michigan basketball teams will face their rival, the Michigan Tech Huskies, tonight. The NMU women are 13-7 this season, while the Michigan Tech women are 14-4. Bree Gasparovich has led Northern Michigan this season, averaging 12.2 points per game, while Morgan Anderson is leading the Huskies with 17.7 points per game this season. On the men's side of things, NMU men are 6-12, while the Michigan Tech men are 11-9 this season. Naba Eccles has led the Wildcats this season, averaging 16.7 points per game, while Kyle Monroe has been averaging 19.4 points per game for Michigan Tech this season. The games are at 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. tonight at the Berry Event Center. And if you cannot make it to the game, it'll be televised on Fox UP TV6. And continuing with some basketball, the Detroit Pistons are in Boston tonight to face the Boston Celtics. The Pistons are 21-26 this season and tied for 9th in the Eastern Conference standings, while Boston is 29-18 this season and 2nd in the Eastern Conference standings. Reggie Jackson has led the Pistons this season with 17.2 points per game and 5.5 assists per game this season. The Pistons defense will have to stop Isaiah Johnson. The 5'9" point guard is averaging a team-high 29 points per game this season and also a team-high assists per game. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. and will be on TNT from the TD Garden in Boston. And now for some tennis, where Roger Federer beat Rafael Nadal in a 3-hour, 38-minute Australian Open Final Classic yesterday. It took 5 sets, with the scores being 6-4, 3-6, 6-1, 3-6, and 6-3 for Federer to beat Nadal. The 35-year-old Federer won his 18th Grand Slam, extending his record, and won his first Grand Slam since 2012 at Wimbledon. The match ended in a thrilling way. Federer finished it with a forehand winner on the line that Nadal challenged, and the play was upheld by replay to give Federer the win. And with the win, Federer became the 4th oldest Grand Slam winner ever, and is also the first man in tennis history to win 3 majors 5 or more times. So Todd, that was a very interesting match yesterday in Australia, and I hear you have a story in Australia.
Yeah, this one's a little more reminiscent of the movie Jaws than tennis, but a 10-year-old surfer in Australia had a close encounter with a photobombing shark that shared a wave with him. Chris Hassan said that he was taking photos of his son Eden riding a wave off of Samurai Beach when something unexpected caught his eye. He discovered he had photographed a shark just below the surface with his son right there next to it. He whistled to his son, who made it out of the waters unharmed. Well, guys, even though we live on the Great Lakes and fresh water and there's no sharks, I'm still afraid there's going to be a shark not nibbling on my foot or something.
Oh, they're there, Todd. You just can't see them.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. We'll see you tomorrow on Public Eye News.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.